Hello and good morning, and hope you're doing all right. So draw your attention to what could be Vim's most efficacious use to save you time, where Google and YouTube and the web is attempting to automate you, force you to do stuff by hand and verify you're a real person, which is none of their business. And we're not going to go against that exactly. We're not going to violate it or scrape without permission. We're just going to automate it what we can, save time what we can. So this is going to be the simplest possible example of a mid-complexity, as-you-go custom hand scraper. So then we're going to use each of Vim's special features to kind of a mid-level. Goal is to turn normal browsing into making a final document as you go. So we're going to copy a big mess of stuff from a web page and do a highly efficacious searching, sorting, copying into what we want to know about it into different documents of our own, which is what scraping is. We're going to use progressive coding as you go. That's kind of the Unix way, the Vim way, the macro way, is you do it the first time and then you repeat what you just did or look in your history, and that is your piece of code. That's your unit of action. If you notice yourself wishing you didn't have to repeat the last thing you did, you're probably doing it right. Anytime you repeat yourself, you should say to yourself, oh, maybe I could do that into a macro. Turn on Markdown. I already have Markdown turned on. I have spelling turned on for some reason. This is the line number gutter. I have a complex line numbering system right now. It shows relative lines, except for the one I'm on. It shows my absolute line number. I'm on the first. Blah, blah, blah. This is the sign gutter or the folding gutter. I have Markdown turned on just for the colors, and I can say things like ZM to fold all the tabs and folds, intelligent folding if I want, ZR to unfold everything, and all highlighting and everything. And Vim works very intimately with markup, markdown, and HTML. It'll encapsulate complicated JavaScript. It doesn't run JavaScript you don't want to, but anytime I can type to HTML that shows me an exact, this is an HTML version of what's going on up here. It's the exact same file. There's no need to save it, and it's modified because it's just right there all the time. So anytime you want to make it HTML, if you did want to save off the actual HTML form, you just say to HTML. Whatever you're doing makes HTML. So that's Mark, and that helps you with a lot of stuff. That's just, well, I just wanted to explain where my colors are now coming from, because we got to step towards turning on all the bells and whistles in Vim, because it's much better to learn it in a kind of a Stark mode, turned everything off, navigate it properly, and then when you go to, you can not only use Vim but NeoVim and other things that use complex pre-formatting and allow for variable fonts and working with HTML as it's rendered for the screen. Anyway, but in raw Vim you would never want to render for the screen. You want to see what's actually in the file. Anyway, so that's Markdown to help you. Whatever you know about Markdown and folds, you can use. Macros work by taking turns with your control of Vim and nibbling away repetitiveness. Put the first half of your program in macro A and the second half in macro B. So that's the way it works. You break up the tasks into macros kind of around you. You and Vim are the input statement. Normally in programming you write loops and stuff, and then you get to a thing where you say input your selection, your choice. That's not what macro programming is like. You just, when you get to something where you have to make a complex choice or you don't know how to make a macro out of it, just stop recording the macro. Jump in and do it by hand in Vim, whatever you need to specify or select. And then the next thing you come along to that you can automate, make that into macro B. And then now you've at least saved time on either side of your work. Vim Golf. That's what we call jumping to finding intelligently and then doing your operation on something in the least number of keystrokes possible, literally. It's a game you can play against yourself and also online. You can submit your scores, and there's even an online game you can play, there's adventure games written around Vim Golf and stuff. It's fun, but in this case we just mean being most efficient. You make a truly useful search term. Sometimes taking a little more time to put an intelligent term in, it may raise your Vim Golf score initially, but then the fact that you've informed your environment and your last history in search means you start being able to do faster movements later. So sometimes shorter isn't always better. So we're going to make a truly useful search term, an intelligent regex, and we're going to, that's really part of programming. Step one might as well be. Step two is a macro to yank around whatever's going on independent of that search term. So that's a human selecting which of that intelligent search terms results we're going to be on with the cursor, and we write a macro to pick up wherever the cursor is, copy around it, yank it into one of 13 in this case possible, because we have 26 A to Z, but we need to store our little macro program in one of them, and we need to yank our actual text into an additional one, so we're using up 2. And I'm just going to demonstrate that right away. We're going on 8 minutes, so the third part is going to write the exact same program, but I'm going to yank it into a different register. Now we'll have 11 left out of A to Z. That would be like a different topic. Yeah, I've already put that here. Different topic. So we yank into register X because we're keeping track of all the things under a certain topic. We yank, append into register X. Register Z will be a different place we're copying and pasting to, almost like it's a different document. Registers might as well be different separate buffer documents that we're keeping track of. They're just invisible and we don't have to jump to them or anything. They're right there until we paste them. And then at the end, if there's time and clarity, we'll add a final step. Every time you yank, it'll also copy in the name of the file so that when you paste it out, you don't have to remember where your source was. It's just going to pull it and put it in there. You'll see if we can get to it. All right, so let's get to making a truly useful search term. Good, 9 minutes on the dot. Say slash down in the lower left-hand corner, and it's important that we have hit escape to get out of that for a second. It's important you have search highlighting turned on for fun and search incremental ink search. See these two? That will show you your search as you progressively do it, as you type it. It makes it a lot more visual, a lot more fun. There's even other options. I haven't turned on all the easy stuff. This is not a video about how to turn on all the wild menu options and stuff, or everyone's favorite menu options. That's really important, but do that separately because there's so many bells and whistles to turn on underneath. For now, I'm going to use basic. I'm going to say slash, so now I'm down in the lower left-hand corner, but I'm searching starting wherever I jumped out of my cursor. I see the word golf. There's only one word golf. See how it just highlighted in orange due to my highlight syntax, and let's say drive instead. Or if I type the word macro, I got a bunch of the words macro, see? And then I would hit enter, and then next and next and but it still keeps the highlighting in light gray. So let's bring that back up. I'm going to up arrow to get my previous search. And now, instead of saying macro, I'm going to insert these characters dot and star. Dot means a character of any sort. It's a wild card, means anything, but not new line. And star means any amount of it, so it's selected all the way to the end. And you can see everything is, anything that starts with an M then gets selected to the M. So if I'm looking for the word macro, I can do macro, RO, dot, star, to the end. Enter. Now I'm jumping with N and uppercase N forward and back between my search results. So if we go work on that, we can put dot star, but we don't have to finish there. We can give it the ending as well. So I see the words macro, work by, blah, 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 repetitiveness at the top. So I could say I don't want the word repetitiveness, so I put the word away. So now it'll only select lines that begin with the word macro, have anything in the middle, and end in the word away. And you can push that to the limit, like anything. I see the word patterns, dot star, select, move it, run. See, I just bop it all over the place, and I can see what I'm getting before I hit enter. Macro. All right, and so this dot star is kind of the main wildcard most people use. I'm going to show you the next most common one, super powerful. You have to use backslash first, because that tells Vim that a wildcard character is coming most of the time. It's called escaping. And then I'm going to use pipe. That's separator. It means and. So I'm going to search on the words Mac and grab and hit enter. So now I'm selecting on either one of them. They don't have to be connected together. They don't have to be on the same line anymore. There's the word Mac, 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 and there's the grab. So I can just keep on, if I say slash, up arrow to the back one, backslash pipe. Let's add the word complex. There it is. So now you see that's highlighted, lightly highlighted as well. So that even more than dot star, right? See, if I just do dot star, it grabs everything everywhere, right? And that if I selected that and copied it all, it would just remove the formatting at the ends of the lines. So so that's dot star. But really what's more useful, and what Windows can't do at all, is the anding. So if I say yank, backslash and R, backslash yank, the, bunch of common words, and now when I go back and forth between them, I can search. So let's so that's regex. That's in a way those two symbols here. We got it on line 25 and 26. Dot star is the most common, but backslash pipe, backslash or escape pipe is the laziness. And that's the and. All right, so we're basically ready to start here. 15 minutes. Simple regex, grabbing groups. Oh, so there's two kinds of regex that maybe I don't need to say this, but in the world and life and such, you're going to come across simple regex that are for grabbing groups of file names. Usually they might assume that you anchor at the front of the name you're searching for and at the end. They might not help with separation of words using spaces or periods or any of that stuff. fact, they don't really want to know about white space, and they'd rather you didn't use it in file names. These regex are usually one character long, just like star or question mark. Any other regex will be. It's more common to have two characters for a code, and the first generally says what you're talking about, like a dot means any character, and then the second character says how many of them, or opens it up to more complex stuff. And you'll have extra codes if you want to find the beginning of or the ends of the words. I don't know why I talked about that. Yeah, just use the AI and that to learn visually and learn more regex. You can control a million things with regex, and they are inside of a million input fields and search fields and other things that you can learn. You could co-opt what they're making you search in and instead do something much more intelligent, using wildcards and using the and character. That's that backslash. You're going to have to get used to seeing backslash a lot. It's super important, potentially a deadly threat or a fun markup thingy. So it can go from backslash can contain codes for controlling your colors. It can hide codes that control your phone. It can change the screen. It's a lot. It's like kind of the opposite or the reverse of quoting. Quote contains stuff and tells the program is like, this should be contained as content, not code. And if it's code, that means running it, and that's vulnerability. So just like quotes in a way are kind of life and death or whatever, backslash also is important. Let's see, the best regex possibilities, blah blah blah. And at the end, I guess I'll show you how to search your registers, your copy paste registers, if you get a little lost to HTML. Anyway, all right, so let's bang it out with 17 minutes into this task of sorting in a brilliant and easy way. So let's say we have a something like this. Let's say this person, Amanda Pete, sort of someone I had met, I think, or someone I knew, roommate or something. So I'm gonna. Looks like she has breast cancer. I'm gonna say Control All and copy, because this is the pointed by hand. You can't help but take Google search results, and it won't let you search automatically. So that's what we got to do. And we're gonna take it all and paste in here using the mouse, just to be real simple about it. And we'll go GG, back up to the top. I'm going to write our first search term. We're going to search on diagnosis. Backslash or doctor. Don't even know if we got any of those, but we know there's a total, if you can see in the lower right hand corner, 2 out of 14 matches. So anyway, let's get to work on making an automatic macro for pulling out mentions of this word. The simple macro goes like this. We're going to hit Q to start recording. We're going to type A to record into slot A. We're going to type V to go into visual mode. Go up one line. We're going to type O to go to the other end of the visual anchor, the selection, and type down one line. So we just made sure we selected around something. Now I'm going to say quote Z, so it knows. Oh, I just messed up. All right, I should put it in the large uppercase. Quote Z, yank. All right, but I have to do it again. All right, stop recording. Quote A, start recording. B, visual mode, up a line. O, other end, go down a line. Now, quote capital Z, append into the Z. not overwrite it. Y, yank. That's it. Q stop. So I stopped recording. That's it. That's your first and potentially your only macro that you need. It's so I'm just to I'm going to check register Z. Yeah, I've already yanked into register Z, so I'm going to say, you don't need to do this, but I'm going to say let at Z equals quote quote, and then register Z. See, I just emptied it and set it equal to empty string quote quote. But I still have my macro I just wrote in register A. So I can go to this line and I say at A, that runs it. Next. Here, Amanda Pete opens up the, let's say I want to save that line. At A runs my register, runs my macro in register A. Keep going down. Let's say this one, this is for informational purposes. Yuck. But anyway, at A. So I just yanked, see it's the lower left-hand corner, yanked 4 lines into Z. So each time I run this macro in register A, it's piling new stuff into register Z. So now I'm going to say enum, and I'm going to say quote Z, so it knows I'm talking about register Z, and say P paste. And there it is. There I just pasted everything out of register Z, which has got to do with what I yanked into it in the first place. All these mentions of diagnosis. Great. All right. So now that was actually pretty brief compared to what everything I blabbed about in the beginning. I'm going to repeat exactly what I did, but simply copying and pasting into, I'm going to write it in it. I'm going to use a different macro. I'm going to use register B to write the macro, and then I'm going to use register Y, X, Y, Z. I'm going to use Y to store the text I copy. So it's going to take up another 2 registers. All right. Control Shift 6 to go last. And let's say, let's be invasive. Let's search for the word smoker. So if I found the word I want to start scraping on, let's say Q to start, and then B to tell it I want to record into slot B. V for visual mode. Up to grab the line above it. O to go to the other end. Down to grab the line below it. Quote uppercase Y to yank this one into register Y and say yank. And now Q to finish recording. So as you can see, I just yanked into register Y, and instead of register Z. And there's no other instances of the word smoker here, so I'm just going to run B. I just ran it twice. And I think I did it a little wrong. Yeah, it moves me up each time. I would have to correct that, see how it puts me into the line above. But anyway, so let's go back to where I was compiling stuff. And this time we'll search, we'll say register Y paste. And then there's all those mentions of a smoker. Now, that's it. So we've done in 23 minutes. Yeah, we're done. So you know how to write a little macro that'll copy and paste into different registers, so you don't even have to switch windows while you're looking at stuff. You just click on something you want and you say, I want to store that in register X. I want to store this in register Z, by running macro A or macro B or whatever you did. And don't worry about it in terms of organizing this. You can kind of just start using Vim, look backwards on what you did and say, how do I record and repeat what I just did? Oh boy. So we can add the file name. That's kind of, it's a little bit of code here down in the bottom, down here. I can also show you how to filter your patterns. So Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to do that. I think that we don't need to do this number 4. All you do is at the end of your macro, when you're done recording, in the middle of your recording, right? And so you're recording to A. Everything we do is being recorded, random stuff. And you hit colon right in the middle of it, and you type, let whatever register you're pasting into, let's say it was Z, and you have to say dot equals, which means add to it. Don't make it equals, but take what it's already got and equal to it, and then you say expand gobbledygook. That's just a code that you have to know. Oh, I didn't type expand right, but anyway, what that will do is it'll add the name so it adds the expanding the name of current file. So this file is called Vim Hand Scraper, and I'll go back to the other window, and if I paste that, see how I put the words Vim. This was there before. Amanda Pete Smoke. No, it's the first one. A open upper breast cancer diagnosis, and I just tapped. I attached those the file names in the end. Anyway, so you can do that if you want. It'll tell you the name of the file you were copying and pasting out of each time. Very useful. Filter pattern on your register. This is a slightly advanced command. If I say reg, see how it lists all those crazy registers that I can do up down. That's everything. All my copy and pastes, all those 26 plus the 10 registers that got your back and some other complex registers. There's like at least 50. So you simplify it down by saying colon reg A colon reg Z. See, it's just Z A M X Y. Just shows me only the ones that I'm listing. Now, on top of that, if you're losing track of stuff and you don't know which of these 26 registers you are copying and pasting what subject out of, and you need to get it together, you can use this command. And you can use this command on almost all Vim output commands. You can say filter, or even just filt, but let's say filter, slash your pattern, let's say Exon, and then the name of the command that you were running. In this case it was reg, right? So it's going to look through all, but I could say reg A only or reg Z, anything, but let's just run it on all my registers. Filter Exon through my registers. Right? Found it. Yeah. Well, I'm not sure if that's because I was using the word, can't I say reg? There we go. I'm not sure what was going on. How much time did I waste? A couple of minutes. Anyway, so as you can see, I'm I'm searching on. Oh boy. Anyway, there you go. Half hour of. This is, as you can see, it shows you the control codes, which you may actually want it. It's better than not. And then, right, you can search within your registers, which are normally invisible to you. What you would have to do, you'd have to paste out of your copy-paste clipboard, right? But, and this will get you a clue where you were keeping what. You can put anything you want in the search term. It's a full regex. I won't demonstrate now, but everything you learned about regex you can put inside this search term, and then search in the output of any command in Vim, pretty much. All right, I think that's a wrap-a-poo. We showed HTML. We showed a lot of stuff. All right. Wow. Simple as possible. Good luck with that. Hand scraper. If you can make it take you less work, I'd like to see it. All right, take care.